People love to stand up and say winners are born, not made. You can believe that if you want to, but the winners I know tend to work their tails off. Hi, I'm Neil Bonnett. You know, I've known Davey Allison since he was cleaning out the trash in his daddy's race car shops. And I've watched him grow up in this rich stock car racing family. They don't just hand you these things because your last name is, say, Allison, though because it is, an awful lot is expected of you. About the only thing his daddy, Bobby Allison, ever gave him was directions to Talladega's Victory Lane. Watch this.
A lap to go on this Winston 500 here at Talladega, and what a showdown. Hometown hero Bobby Allison at 47 in the Miller, number 22, against the Intimidator, number 3, Dale Earnhardt. Here comes Allison for the checkers, and the leader of the legendary Alabama gang wins it, his first victory in over 2 years. There's defending race winner Bobby Allison trying to hold off Buddy Baker. Oh, Allison is airborne into the grandstand fence. He's not out of danger. Almost 6 cars involved. They've thrown the red flag. They're stopping the race. Race leader Davey Allison having to watch his dad, Bobby, flip so many times in that horrible crash early in this event. And now, exactly 1 year after Bobby has won here at Talladega, here comes rookie Davey Allison about to win his first Winston Cup race ever. It'll be 2 in a row for the Allison family. Guessing that Davey's crew relayed the word that his dad was okay, but that still must be a bittersweet moment for the 26-year-old rookie in his first major victory. But what a future he has.
Man, what a great day that was. If you think that Victory Lane celebration was wild, you should have seen the one in Hueytown. We're going to take a break, and we'll come right back here to the stock car racing capital of the country, some say the world, and meet some of the members of the Alabama gang, and its newest star, Davey Allison.
Winners is brought to you by Fram Filter Products. Fram, you can pay a little now or a lot later. And Autolite Spark Plugs and wire and cable products. Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years no matter how far you go.
Boy, are things changing. Nowadays, the most active member of the Alabama gang is Davey Allison. And believe me, Davey is active enough for all of us. He's been running Winston Cup for car owner crew chief Robert Yates since his rookie year. Now, he's also running NASCAR's Busch Grand National Series with a team and a car Davey owns himself.
Gotta take that ignition ground loose before you charge the battery. The ignition ground has to come off before you charge the battery. Yeah.
The crew chief for Davey's Busch Grand National car is Red Farmer, an old friend of mine. To understand the story of how this odd couple got together, you got to go back a long way. Back to the legend of the Alabama gang. This winter's episode on Davey Allison is going to be very enjoyable for me because I'm at home. We're right here in Hueytown, Alabama, where the Alabama gang originated. Directly behind me is Bobby Allison's home. Everything in Hueytown is concentrated right across the street, Mr. and Miss Allison's house. Here's a shop right now that's Bobby Allison's offices. He uses it for office area right now instead of race cars. Below us, that's where all the work went on, where all the cars were built and a lot of the racing went on. This shop now is owned by Davey Allison running his Busch Grand National cars. Directly across this hall, Red Farmer, a guy that's won over 700 races and is still going. And I'm the guy that lives right over those trees on the other side of that hill. Let's go down here and see these guys and see what makes it all happen. It was right here in this same shop where Bobby Allison, Donnie Allison, Red Farmer, and eventually myself worked on our cars in the late 50s and early 60s when they started calling this group of men the Alabama gang. Boy, can I remember the days when old Bobby and Donnie and Red would load up in those old pickup trucks, race cars in tow, and drive convoy style racetracks all over the Southeast. I tell you what, those were the good old days.
When I was a kid, looking at the Alabama gang, you know, I looked with, I guess, starstruck eyes at Red Farmer, my dad, Neil Bonnett, my Uncle Donnie, And I always thought, it really would be neat to be a part of the Alabama gang, and hopefully someday I'll get to race against those guys and be able to beat them eventually.
It was in the late 50s when Bobby Allison moved to Alabama. He and his brother Donnie, an old red farmer, they were running for peanuts in South Florida. And then they found out you could run every night of the week and make a whole lot more money racing right here near Birmingham.
I went home and told Red, I said, Red, I have found the greatest place in the world. And he said, well, I've got vacation coming up, and I've got the car, so we'll just go on back up and see what it's like. Well, I had won the first feature of my career, but that was the only one I won there for a while. I ran good a lot of nights, but didn't win again. But Red came here, I guess it was my third week, and it was kind of a holiday period where we had 8 races in 7 days, as I remember it, and Red won 7 of those.
I was already living here in Hueytown. I was working as a pipe fitter and I was racing on the weekends. Then comes Bobby Allison, takes me under his wing, and we all went racing together. The Alabama gang. Me, Bobby, Donnie, and Red, all in a row. We used to love to hear people say it was our genius that made us winners. I'm here to tell you it was because we all stuck together.
We used to travel like gypsies. We'd pull out 3 of us in a row with little pickup trucks towing a trailer behind us, and we'd go to these different tracks, and we always used to pull in together. And when we come into Bristol or North Wilkesboro, places like that, we had a pretty good reputation of winning a lot of races, and most of the time we could run, if we came in, we'd run 1, 2, 3.
When they'd go out of state, people would refer to them as the Alabama gang. Here would come the Alabama gang trooping in, and they would be the only 3 from here, and everybody else would be from the Carolinas or from Virginia, somewhere up in that way, and the name stuck.
We've been together for a long time, and there's been a lot of changes in Hueytown. We got a new post office, a new Bonnett Honda. Well, let me tell you, the biggest change of all, we got Davey Allison's name on the front door of our old race shop.
I knew from the time I was a small kid that I wanted to be a race car driver, and that I wanted to be a member of the Alabama gang, and that I wanted to beat the guys who were already in it. That was my goal. And as far as a legacy is concerned, there's just been a lot of hard work to get there, and I had a lot of good groundwork from all of those guys. My dad gave me the basic shop to work in, but I got to work with Red Farmer, and I got to work with Neil Bonnett, and I got to work with my Uncle Donnie, and also my dad, all before I ever started racing. So I had a lot of valuable lessons.
And the leader of the Alabama gang shares his victory lane with Bill Elliott here at Riverside, California in the final race of '83. Elliott won the race, but finishing 9th was enough to earn Bobby Allison his first Winston Cup driving championship. One of the closest finishes in history, just 47 points behind Allison, was Darrell Waltrip. But what a day for Bobby Allison.
I don't really know exactly when I said to myself or came to the realization that I had a famous father. To me, he was always my dad growing up, and he was always there for me to talk to. He took me places with him, and he let me hang around the shop and watch what was going on. And I guess it was later on into my teenage years when I was doing some of the traveling, and somebody would ask me where I was from, and I'd say Hueytown, and they'd say, "Oh, well, ain't that where Bobby Allison's from?" And I'd say, "Yeah, that's my dad. That's where we're from, Hueytown, but Bobby Allison is my dad."
Bobby Allison would roll in, you'd think that, God rolled in or something,
I said, now how do these people know that? How do they know that's where he's from? Then I started thinking about it a little bit, and the television coverage and the radio and the newspapers and stuff, and I said, here this guy is, he's making a name all over the country, and people know who he is. He's a famous person, and he's my dad.
We'd be going down the road, and David go, it's kind of the first thing he learned to say. And he, as time went on, I feel like showed a lot of interest in what I was doing.
Even in school, the teachers had trouble with him you know, doing his math like in 2nd grade, and I went and had a talk with the teacher, and I told her, I said, well, instead of using the apples up there as an illustration, use race cars and you'll get his attention. Well, she did, and sure enough, she got his attention.
I had been telling my dad and my mom all along that I wanted to be a race car driver. That was my goal. That's what I wanted to be. And when I turned 16, I told my dad again that I wanted to be a race car driver. And he was sitting at this location in the shop looking out this window, and he said, there's the shop, there's the equipment, you better get busy.
Well, he went through a period where it was just about all talk. But then as he got into toward the end of high school, I guess his junior year of high school, I had the Matador and ended up working down there in the engine shop every night, real late and all. And he began to spend a lot of time down there with me. And one night we were down there working, and sometimes he'd work pretty late, you know, quit in time to get a shower and go to school, which was maybe pretty tough on a youngster like that. But one night he said, Dad, let me bolt the thing together, and you watch and just make sure that I don't do something wrong, but let me do the work.
After about a week, he saw that I was serious, and my grades had started tapering off, and you know, my attention towards school was really going away. He says, look, he says, I know you want to be a race car driver. I see that you're serious about it, but your mom and I have talked, and we feel like you need to finish school first. So your requirement is to graduate, not get a GED diploma, to graduate from high school. And that's all I had to hear. You know, but I got thinking, I said, I'll go to summer school and get ahead and graduate early. That's what I did.
I knew from the start how dedicated Davy was. He'd come in after high school and spend his time sweeping the floor around me and old Red while we was trying to fix our race cars. And then Davy and his cousins and some of his friends would stay all night long building his own race cars. Before we knew it, the Alabama gang had a new rival.
We had what was known then as the Peach Fuzz gang, consisted of myself and one other boy that were 19 years old, and neither one of us were shaven yet. And everyone else, including Donnie's son Kenny and my brother Clifford, Greg Campbell, you know, all of us were real young, inexperienced in most people's eyes, but we went around, we terrorized the Southeast, not only on the racetrack, but on the streets too, I guess. We covered a lot of miles.
Bobby wanted Davy to do it the right way, earn his place in racing, learn on the short tracks before he hit Winston Cup. Bobby was right. When we come back, we'll look at Davy, the winningest rookie in NASCAR history.
And now, with 1 lap to go, Davey Allison looks like he's going to run away with this Winston 500 here at Talladega. His first victory on the Winston Cup Tour. And what a coup for the Rainier-Lundy team, which lost Cale Yarborough just last year and took a chance with the newest member of the Alabama gang. Surely looks like it's paying off. And Davey Allison becomes the first driver in NASCAR history to win 2 races in his rookie season, taking one of the closest Budweiser 500s here at Dover Downs in history, outlasting not only Bill Elliott, but his father Bobby as well. What a rookie season for the young man from Hueytown, Alabama.
I guess being around, you know, being Bobby Allison's son, as far as genetics are concerned, I don't think that has a lot to do with it, other than maybe I've picked up his desires. The being around and learning from him and learning from guys like Red and Donnie and Neil, I think my knowledge and my experience was at a higher level starting off than most other people's would have been that didn't have that kind of influence. And I think that had a big part to play in the things that followed that year and even beyond that year.
There's the scene of the 2.5 mile Daytona International Speedway, with a gigantic crowd here today to enjoy this 30th annual 500.
The '88 Daytona 500, that That is my fondest memory of all time. It was a tough race all day long. He and Darrell Waltrip and myself swapped the lead back and forth and actually ran off and hid from the rest of the competition. And just toward the end of the race, where we were trying to figure out how I was going to be able to beat Dad and Darrell, Darrell faded away, and it left it down to Dad and myself. And I said, you know, it'd be really neat right now to beat him, and I was going to give it everything I got.
Davey Allison trying the inside move. Bobby Allison holds him off. They come to the stripe, and the winner of the 30th annual Great American Race, Bobby Allison. Davey Allison, his son, in second. Judy Allison ecstatic. What a tremendous family performance.
Look at him, Bobby waving to Davey.
I went down low and ran for him, but he was too strong.
Did you hear Davey saying, I made a try for him at turn 4, but he was too strong?
When I came across the finish line a car length and a half behind him, I just keyed the mic on the radio and I said, guys, he was just too tough today. He had us beat. And I was frustrated because I wanted to win. You know, I wanted to beat him. And 30 minutes later, you know, I realized second place is what I had for that day, and my dad won that race. When I was taking a checkered flag, I didn't care if it was my dad or anybody else that was in front of me. But I knew that was something that had never been done before and may never be done again. And it's something that we can remember and cherish forever.
That is a moment that will go in racing history forever. But there was another moment in young Davey's life that year, a moment that changed the Alabama gang forever. A few months later at Pocono International Raceway, Bobby crashed. At first, it seemed to be just another in a long list of 1988 tire war casualties. And Bobby had certainly survived worse-looking crashes than this one. But this time, Bobby spent months in the hospital, and he's still recovering. And so are all of us who are very close to him, especially Davey, who had to do a lot of growing up in those months when his dad was in the hospital. He kept his racing going because he knew that's what Bobby would have wanted for him to do. And then, just weeks after Bobby's wreck, Davey won his first race of the season at Michigan.
I want to dedicate this race to my dad and all the working people that come out to support us.
It must have seemed like his whole world was turning upside down. That old gang of ours was changing in a hurry. And on top of that, Davey had a new wife and baby.
When I started racing, I was on the road all the time. And to me, home was wherever the next racetrack was, wherever the next race was. Now, when the races are over, I have an airplane that I fly, and I want to come home to Hueytown, to my house, and be with my family. And before, I would have just assumed go on to the next racetrack or to the next city. And that part has changed. Now I look forward to coming back home, playing with my little girl, and spending some time with my wife.
Davey's wife Liz and his baby daughter Krista, they follow him to the races as much as possible. But that in itself, that's a true test of their patience. Davey's cousin Tommy had to fill in because Davey was real busy that weekend. He had just finished second in the Grand National race on Saturday, and then he went straight to the Winston Cup garage to work on his pole position car for the next day's 500. Davey, he carries a lot of weight on his shoulders. He's the most active member of the gang. His dad, a car owner now, and Red, he works Davey's pits. And me, well, I'm just watching this boy grow up some more. Daytona Speedway is a great vantage point because this race has made this boy grow up more than once.
Tell you what, Jeff O'Dine just flat wrecked on us then.
And 3 hours later, after the race is over, I sure was glad to see Davey cool down.
I'm sorry.
Impatient little
I made a mistake, Davey.
I certainly didn't do it on purpose.
We can't have that kind of mistake. Well, you were using your mirror a lot, but that isn't why I did it.
I'm running on a straight line right behind the guy in front of me,
That don't matter.
Jeff.
I'm sorry. I did not do it on purpose.
If you ever let one person get away with pushing you around, then the rest of them are going to follow. They're going to say, he can be taken advantage of. And that's one person that we will take advantage of. And I don't want that to happen. I want people to know that whatever comes my way is coming back, and probably going to come back equally as hard or harder.
Davey has paid his dues. He's learned his lessons the hard way, the right way. His winning record, it says a lot about the legacy of the Alabama gang. His modesty says a lot about Davey Allison.
The Alabama gang is Red Farmer, Bobby Allison, Donnie Allison, and Neil Bonnett, and it always will be. And that's something that was established a long time ago. But, you know, to be able to say now that there's a new generation of Alabama gang, and it includes myself, Hut Strickland, and Mickey Gibbs, it's an honor, and it's something that I'm proud to be a part of, and it's something that I want to carry on the tradition for a long time to come.
I know you got the load on you out there in racing. I wish you the best. You're doing a good job for us. And just in case y'all heard a little bit of noise in the background, this right here is the culprit. And you think racing's a handful. There you go. Try that for a while.
She's a handful. She's a handful, but she's great.
Could that be the next member of the Alabama gang? Maybe the next winner? Well, it certainly runs in the family. And knowing the Allison clan and the way Davey grew up, I'm sure she'll work hard for it. And so for all our winners, I'm Neil Bonnett. Till next week, so long, everybody.
Winners has been brought to you by Autolite Spark Plugs and Wire and Cable Products. Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years no matter how far you go. And Fram Filter Products. Fram, you can pay a little now or a lot later.